Allowing for a little campaigning on the CBS Evening News last night and an appearance at the Bill Clinton Global Initiative this morning, John McCain announced yesterday that he was suspending his presidential campaign. The pitch was that he would cease political hostilities for the good of the country, get all the power of the two branches of government together to save the economy, and then soar triumphantly back into the campaign as the selfless savior. Problems with this script? One, McCain hasn't voted on a Senate bill since April. So it strained credulity to think that the United States Congress was just waiting for him to show up before they could really get down to the work of passing legislation. Problem two, his local presence in D.C. did not get a deal done, maybe because he didn't say much at all at the big bipartisan meeting photo op at the White House. And problem three, his suspended campaign wasn't really all that suspended. You could still donate money to McCain online today if you wanted. Isn't that kind of a campaign-y thing? McCain's surrogates were also out in force on the cable networks, pushing their cause and hitting Obama. That seems campaign-y, too.
I think what the American voter depends on is someone to take the reins and decide that we need to put partisanship aside in favor of solutions.
So there could be an empty podium standing there next to Barack Obama.
Well, they could always have Joe Biden, and if it's on foreign policy, Obama and Biden could debate each other. This is classic Senator McCain. He said, I'm going to put politics on hold 40 days out from an election, withdraw some $12 million in paid media and advertising off the airs in order to do what's right and put the country first.
Okay, except there are reports from across the country that McCain TV ads are still on TV. And officials at McCain offices in battleground states like Ohio, Missouri, Florida, Virginia, Minnesota, Nevada all sounded like they were open for business today, campaigning away. According to the Huffington Post, one McCain official in Ohio asked, quote, suspension of the campaign? Another in Missouri saying, we are not shut down. Everything is still going on. And then there's the issue of the Friday night debate in Oxford, Mississippi. Senator McCain still has not decided whether or not to participate, but just about everybody else, Senator Obama, the debate commission, the Republican governor of Mississippi, they all think the thing is still on. So how's that script working for the McCain campaign tonight? Joining us now is Ed Rendell, the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania. Governor, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Rachel. Let me add one thing. Governor Palin came into Pennsylvania today. She's going to do some debate watching in a place in Pennsylvania. But the campaign notified the press that she would be coming in and asked them to come out to the airport to meet her. That, to me, is symptomatic of a campaign that keeps rolling and keeps wanting publicity. So I think that vow to suspend campaigning has been a hollow one. It's interesting. I think if you look at the sequence of events with Senator Obama's campaign calling the McCain campaign at 8:30 in the morning and saying, let's get together and do a joint principle statement, and the McCain campaign not calling back till 2:30 and then giving some rigmarole, I believe if Senator McCain and Senator Obama got together, put together 4 or 5 principles that had to be in the bailout in their view, that would have carried the day overwhelmingly in Congress. We'd have a bailout plan. The debate could have gone on without any interruption. That would have been real bipartisanship. Take a chance. It may not be popular back home, but everyone understands there has to be some form of bailout. The key is what protections you put in for ordinary Americans and for the American taxpayers. That would have been real leadership to respond to the call from the Obama campaign. So people back here are wondering why that didn't happen. And 2, they're wondering why Senator McCain can't multitask. God knows the President of the United States is going to have to multitask. As governor, I often juggle 2 or 3 balls at the same time. You could certainly continue working on the bailout, leave Washington around 5 o'clock, get down to Oxford in time to debate, take a charter plane back to Washington, be up at 7 or 8 the next morning, continue work on the bailout. That's what presidents do, and that's what I think Senator McCain should be doing. And most of my constituents are sort of querulous about why this debate may be off. They don't understand it.
I will take issue with one thing that you just characterized, which is the idea that everybody agrees there has to be a bailout. I think I thought that, too, until about 20 minutes ago when I started talking to Pat Buchanan and to Richard Shelby, the ranking Republican on the Senate Banking Committee. It seems like since John McCain arrived in Washington, the idea that there is going to be a bailout plan has fallen apart.
Well, remember, Senator Shelby said, and so did I think Pat Buchanan, if not a bailout plan or the bailout plan or the Paulson plan, there has to be an alternative. Remember, we need credit. we need credit to float, not for these Wall Street bankers and not for some people who may have committed crimes, but we need credit to flow for the guy who owns a machine shop and his revenue comes in staggered lines, so he needs a line of credit. If he doesn't get that line of credit, he lays off all 17 of his workers. We need credit to be available for someone who wants to get a college loan. Credit can't stop. It can't freeze in this country. So there has to be some form of plan to get this going. I think the key is what protections we put in for the American people. And that's the key. And that's where Senator McCain, if he really wanted to do something, should have responded to Senator Obama's request that they sit down. Joint principles by Obama and McCain would have meant a plan that would have been passed overwhelmingly by the Congress.
Governor Rendell, we know that stylistically, John McCain likes big, flashy, Hail Mary type moves. He likes game changers, and he likes a lot of them. We've seen a lot of them in this campaign thus far. Senator Obama, in contrast, has approached this problem by saying, let's not let presidential politics get in the way. Let this be a governing matter, not a campaign matter. I thought it was telling that he brought a Senate staffer with him to the meeting at the White House, while Senator McCain brought a campaign staffer with him to that meeting. I understand the difference in the two men's approaches to problems and to politics, but I wonder if Senator Obama is essentially giving John McCain an opening here to do one of his moves that gets lots of attention, that makes him look bold, and that gets him the kind of political attention he might want.
Well, maybe so, Rachel, but I think a lot of people have been turned off by the way Senator McCain has reacted to this crisis, starting with the fundamentals of the economy are still strong. Then an hour later saying, no, we're in crisis. Then deciding we needed a commission before we did anything. And then saying in a magazine interview that he's still for deregulation. Let's deregulate the health insurance industry like we've done for banking over the last decade. A great idea. So, and popping off and saying we should fire SEC Chairman Cox. I think you contrast that sort of all over the lot hot response to Senator Obama's response, which I think shows that he's in control, that he understands what has to be done, and that he's a serious person. Look, the presidency of the United States is about serious responses to serious challenges. I think what Barack Obama has proved over this last week is he's a serious person who puts the welfare of the country first, doesn't get involved in political tricks or Hail Marys or whatever you want to call it.
Governor Ed Rendell, let me ask you just one last question. How do you think that this issue is playing out in your state? Pennsylvania, obviously, such a crucial battleground for November. How do you think the issue is resonating, and how upset do you think your constituents are?
Well, I think my constituents are more confused even than upset. First of all, we want details. To this day, I don't know exactly what's in the supposed bailout plan, and I'm not ready to sign off on it, not that what I think is going to matter, but I'm not ready to support it until I'm sure that the requisite protections for the American taxpayer and for the homeowner who's struggling, trying to pay off his mortgage, trying to keep his home, the most desperate of all efforts that an individual can make. I'm not going to sign off on the plan until we know what's in it to address those problems. And I think that's what most people are looking to hear. There's a visceral reaction saying we don't want to give $700 billion to these guys on Wall Street who may have raped us with malice and forethought. But I think people understand that we've got to do something. It's the what is the something, and they're waiting to hear. And I think, again, they're looking for a response that's collected, that seems to be directed towards finding answers. And that's why I think Barack Obama has done well since the beginning of this crisis, and you see so much movement in the polls. I don't know if you noted, Rachel, some of the polls in Pennsylvania are still close, but there's one that shows the gap widening to 9 points. Now, I'm not sure I believe that, but it certainly shows significant movement on behalf of the Obama campaign, and I think because of the way Senator Obama's responded.
Governor Ed Rendell of Pennsylvania, we really appreciate you taking the time to join us. Thank you.